All right, so who's eligible for the one-time top-up to the Canada Housing Benefit? The benefit itself is a $500 benefit aimed at helping low-income renters in Canada with the cost of renting. It's a tax-free benefit, which means that none of your other federal income-tested benefits will be impacted by this, which is kind of cool. Incredibly important. Make sure that you file it on time, which means that you need to file it by this Friday, March 31st, 2023, before 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. It takes only about 5 minutes to file it, so you might as well do it right now. All right, so let's have a look how to actually file the benefit itself. So the link to this subsection of the CRA website can be found in the description of this video. So who can apply? So you need to meet all of this eligibility criteria in order to be able to file for this benefit. Number one, you must have been at least 15 years old on December 1st, 2022 to be eligible for this benefit. You need to have had a principal residence in Canada on December 1st, 2022. You also need to have been a Canadian resident for tax purposes in 2022. You also must have filed a 2021 income tax return. And if you've had a common law partner or a spouse, they also need to have filed a 2021 income tax return. Finally, if you're a family, basically your 2021 adjusted family net income needs to have been $35,000 or less. If you're an individual, it has to be $20,000 or less. Now, the reason they keep on talking about 2021 is just that's the way that Canadian tax law functions. A lot of times to be eligible for benefits in subsequent years, it matters how much you've earned in previous years, right? Now, you also need 3 pieces of information over here to be eligible. So number one, you obviously need to have paid rent in 2022. Otherwise, there's no point in government giving you money to pay rent if you haven't paid any rent in 22, right? I think that's kind of obvious. You also need to make sure that the rent that you paid was for a qualifying principal residence in Canada, basically. And the rent that you paid needs to have been at least 30% or more of your 2021 adjusted family net income, so after tax income, to be eligible. So if all of those things are correct, you may be eligible to apply for this. So let's see here, if you click on Get Ready to Apply. The first few of these are mandatory. The other ones near the end, you'll see, are just, if you have them, it'll go a bit faster. Otherwise, it's not necessary. So number one, have you filed your 2021 return? Yes. If you've had a spouse, have they filed? Yes. Okay, great. You will need your and your spouse's or common law partner's 2021 income information to determine if you're eligible for the benefit. There you go. You'll need the following rent information before you apply. So if you've moved addresses within Canada, you need all addresses as well as the names of the landlords of each one of those addresses. Also, what is the total amount of rent that you've paid for all of your Canadian addresses in 2022? And then, the contact information for your landlord or landlords, plural, if you've moved in 2022. Okay, so there you go. Now, so these are mandatory, right? The bottom parts here, do you have a CRA My account? If you do, and if you're able to successfully log in, then that's great, because in that case, it'll probably be processed within 5 business days. If you're not able to access it, that's still okay. You might be able to fill it out using My Services website instead, and you can kind of follow this this procedure. That will likely take about 7 to 10 business days. If that's also not available to you, then you can always file via phone, and I'll show you where you can have that information in a second. All right, and that will take about 12 business days. But regardless, these things, again, it's really entirely up to you. It's not mandatory. And finally, is your direct deposit information up to date with the CRA? If it is, then again, that just speeds up the process. If not, you'll receive a payment by check. So that's, again, entirely up to you. All right. So how to apply? So as I mentioned before, if you're able to access My CRA, that's great. It'll be about 5, maybe up to 10 business days max. If you're not able to access CRA, you might be able to use Service Canada over here. You're able to perhaps do it that way. If you're not able to access My CRA, that might take 6 to 11 business days. And then worst case scenario, you'll still be able to do it via phone. That will take 7 to 12 business days. Okay, and follow that those instructions over here. Okay, so very quickly here, I'll just show you a mock way of doing it using My CRA, and that's about it. So you can see here, we're logged into my CRA. So again, this is a fake account. It's obviously not my actual account. It'll tell you whether you're eligible or not. You'll be able to basically click here on apply now once you're logged in. Now, again, it gives you a bit of information, kind of repeats what we've just seen, right? Now you can click on start. Again, then you will have your banking information. Again, this is just a fake account. This is obviously not my actual banking information. So, you know, whatever your bank information will be, will show up here. So that will be the account. So account number 123456 here, that the direct deposit will be deposited, and obviously verify whether that information is correct or not. So did you pay rent for the principal residence? Obviously, if you haven't, then you're not eligible. So there you go. Enter the amount that you've entered. So here, the system, again, this is just a fake system. Here, it basically looks at, you know, hypothetical, I made $33,000 in 2021. Therefore, I'm eligible because my family income was $33,000, which is less than $35,000. Again, for you, it'll say whatever it is that your respective income was. And then basically you just enter, fill this out. Again, it's, you know, your address, your landlord information. That's fairly standard. And then you're just reviewing the information, and it's just double checking that you have all of the correct information, your mailing information, and so on and so forth. Right, so again, these are all hypothetical, fake bits and pieces of information that I'm showing you here. It'll look different for you depending on what you're entering. And then just acknowledge that, you know, the information that you're providing is correct, and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, just write them in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to reply. Just again, this is, you know, timely information. So make sure that you fill it out sooner rather than later.